We need empathy and compassion in our organizations. Well, we must be talking about a nonprofit organization then, because surely a business doesn't care about these things, right? Business is tough. And these things have nothing to do with making money. And that's the focus of business, isn't it? It's to make money. I think the focus of business needs an adjustment. It's been influenced by economic thought leaders with phrases like increase shareholder value and maximize profitability. Well then, why do some leaders say shareholder value is the last thing we should focus on? What should we be focused on then? We need to get way out in front of shareholder value. We need to create a structure that allows human beings to develop to their fullest potential. And in order to develop to our fullest potential, we need to understand the perspectives of other people. That is empathy. We need to be more empathetic and compassionate with each other. Except culturally, our empathy is declining. A 2010 study done by the University of Michigan revealed that college students were more empathetic 30 years ago. And that students today are 40% less likely to understand the perspective of another person, and they're less likely to have concern for people who are less fortunate than themselves. These people are now these people. Those college students are in the workforce, which means there's an increase in the quantity of people who could really care less about what you think. And we all know the word for this, selfishness, right? And if more people are worried about themselves, then we're placing less value on our relationships. And as we devalue our relationships, we're less capable of seeing the holistic value of another person. And as a result, we are not developing to our fullest potential. We need to bring empathy and compassion into our business culture. But how? I know that study reveals a drop in empathy overall, but it's not universally true. So let me share with you how we did this, where I work at Widen. We created a structure that values the whole person. See, most organizations, they value one thing. It's your productivity. We absolutely value your productivity too, but we also value the unique talents that each individual brings with them and how they contribute those talents to our culture. Because how you build an appreciation for another person is by using professional skills and unique talents. And in fact, every day people show up at Widen and apply their professional skills to help our customers and to help each other, but they also apply their unique talents. So let me give you an example of what this looks like. At a recent customer appreciation event, we hosted over 200 customers in Madison, and we let these unique talents shine through. An advisor on our sales team, he shared his balloon art skills at our opening reception. A customer service person on our content team, he baked incredible cupcakes for the event. An event planner on our marketing team, she shared her concert hall piano skills for a video story. 2 people on our color production team, they used their professional photography skills to capture the event. And our video expert, he shared his musical talents with his popular band for our evening entertainment. You see, the structure that we've created is what allows these talents to shine through. And I refer to this as Eudaimonia. It's a Greek term from 4th century BC. It means happiness, health, and prosperity. See, I don't even view my role as the traditional chief executive officer. My job as the CEO is the chief Eudaimonia Officer. I need to figure out how to bring the happiness, health, and prosperity of all these individuals together, both their professional skills and their unique talents. Because it is the collective combination of these that creates a unique Widen experience. Now, the reason I talk about this structure and I give you these examples is because this is how we were able to increase the empathy and the compassion within our organization. We didn't go out and buy a book on the 5 ways to become more empathetic. We didn't hire a trainer. We didn't watch a webinar. We needed to find the right people who had professional skills that could apply to their day-to-day occupational tasks. And they had the unique skills that could teach us empathy and compassion. Because how you build an appreciation for the full value of another person is by working alongside those whose perspective is different than your own. So let me introduce you to a few of the people that helped make this happen. This is Christina. This is Michael. This is Nick. This is Justin. And this is Rob. These are my colleagues. And they help me and more than 100 people at Widen do our jobs better because they're teaching us how to be more empathetic and compassionate. Now, I'm not talking about being sympathetic because they have developmental disabilities. They don't need our sympathy. We need to appreciate their professional skills and their unique talents because it's different than our own. We need more people with developmental disabilities in the workforce. I think part of why we have a decline in empathy overall is because we haven't welcomed people with developmental disabilities. What? What do you mean we haven't welcomed people with developmental disabilities? Well, the ugly truth is we have a dark history of how we've treated and how we continue to treat people with developmental disabilities. They've been institutionalized. They've been isolated. They've been deemed life unworthy of life. They are sterilized by force, and they are aborted. The abortion rate for children with Down syndrome is 90%. 9 out of every 10 children are aborted. And we wonder why we have a decline in empathy. We're trying to eradicate an entire group of people because it makes us uncomfortable to have to coexist with people who are different than us. Now, you might think, that's ridiculous. Of course, we're welcoming and accepting of them. Maybe. Are we including them? How many of your colleagues have a developmental disability? A few statistics reveal not many of you. An advocacy group shared that the rate of employment among people with developmental disabilities is low, and it's remained unchanged for the last 10 years. 15% of people with developmental disabilities have a paying job. 40% want one, but they don't have one. So it's time to stop cheering from the sidelines and calling it acceptance. It's not good enough. This is your call to get in the game. Now, you still may wonder, how does employing people with developmental disabilities increase the empathy and the compassion in a business culture? Now, I'll testify to what has unfolded before these very eyes, but let me share some research that's been done on families who have children with developmental disabilities to articulate the impact. When families are asked about their experience, they shared that they learned to recognize strengths in others with greater clarity. They learn to have an increased acceptance of diversity. They learn to not place limits on what people are capable of. They learn to have a more positive attitude. They learn to have increased tolerance and compassion, to find excitement in the little things. They learn to strengthen communication, and overall, they say they've become better people. Are we talking about families here, or are we talking about business? Because those sure sound a lot like what every business is looking for. Listen to them again. Except alongside some company and job postings I found and a few business articles. Recognition of strengths. Acceptance of diversity. Not placing limits on what people are capable of. A more positive attitude. Increased compassion and tolerance. Appreciation and excitement in the little things. Strengthened communication and an overall improvement in becoming a better person. It is what businesses are looking for. Now, I can vouch for all these, but not as a parent. As an employer, I'm someone in the workforce experiencing the same positive impacts, learning the same things. How can I prove it to you, though, beyond just this witness? Measure it. Right? Businesses measure lots of things, and we should continue to measure things so as to constantly improve. But are we measuring the right things? Are we measuring the things that indicate we are developing people to their fullest potential? We started to better understand our own empathy and compassion by measuring things like dignity and integrity and a variety of wellness dimensions. And what we found was that an increase across those measurements tightly correlated with the start of employing people with developmental disabilities. Another reason to measure, though, is to remind us that this is not about doing a social good. The measurements remind us that something is being given to us. So how do you get started with something like this? Let me tell you how we did this. We did two things. The first thing we did is we partnered with an outstanding community organization called the Community Support Network. They provide job coaches, and they help bridge the gap between people with developmental disabilities and businesses. And the second thing we did is we hired a popcorn manager. We bought a commercial popcorn maker, and we hired the first ever Widen popcorn manager. Andrew goes around and tallies up how much popcorn to make, pops it, bags it, and he delivers it. Andrew was the first of several hires that we made. And today, 5% of my colleagues have a developmental disability. What if you were to apply the same percentage to your workforce? I'll tell you what will happen. The demand for people with developmental disabilities would be more significant than any other career function. We need 7 million people helping us to combat this disturbing decline in empathy. We need 7 million people with developmental disabilities teaching us how to understand the perspectives of others. The problem is there's only 1.8 million people available for these 7 million jobs. Why don't we see this demand represented in the market today? We've yet to embrace the value that diversity provides. Increasing our understanding of other people's perspectives is necessary for us to advance on our potential. This is our focus. You need to experience the joys of working alongside people with developmental disabilities. We've done it, and now it's your turn. Thank you.